June is Alzheimer's and Brain Awareness Month, and the statistics are sobering. More than 7 million Americans are living with Alzheimer's, and nearly 12 million provide their unpaid care. And that care comes at a hefty cost, mentally, but also financially. It's estimated the total lifetime cost of care for someone with Alzheimer's is nearly $400,000. But there's an upcoming caregiver summit that's focused on resources that can help. An author and Alzheimer Association volunteer, Steph Jagger, joins me now. Thank you for being here.
Good to be here. Yeah.
And so timely this month,
It
too.
is very timely. This month is an important month for Alzheimer's and brain awareness, all across the country. And it's an important, there's so many people that are moving through this. So yeah.
Yeah, those statistics were staggering.
Yeah.
And you know all too well about what it's like to care for a loved one. You even wrote a book about it, Everything Left to Remember.
Yeah.
So tell me, if you don't mind, a little bit about your journey with your mom.
Yeah, so my mother was diagnosed with Alzheimer's about 10 years ago, and she's been in a care facility for about 5 of the last years. And it is a long haul journey, and I think that's what makes it really unique for caregivers, is that you're talking about 5-10 years of really, really hands-on care in many cases. And so with my mother, when she was just diagnosed, I knew a little bit about the journey because my grandmother also went through Alzheimer's and dementia.
Okay.
And so I knew there was a window of opportunity where there was just enough of her still remaining to really take advantage of that time. And so I took her on a 2-week road trip through a bunch of different national parks and really ended up writing a book about it that was a reckoning of the disease, a reckoning of remembrance, and also just enjoying one another for that amount of time.
Oh.
Yeah, so that was the journey that I took her on when she still had quite a bit of herself intact. And then, as the disease progresses, things change, but I will always have those memories, which is wonderful.
Oh my gosh, absolute trip of a lifetime.
It really was, We had a really wonderful time, and all of the nature and seeing her inside of those moments. And I think that's one of the things I always like to talk about with Alzheimer's and Alzheimer's awareness is, even though your loved one might not remember the moment, they're probably gonna feel good in it.
Yeah.
And that's worth it.
Oh.
For them to have an enjoyable moment with you is a memory for you, and also just feel good feelings in their body for them. So I always like to encourage people to do those things if it's possible for them in early stages, especially.
That makes perfect sense. And you're going to be speaking, I hear, at the summit on June 20th. So just tell me more about this entire event.
Yeah, so the summit is June 20th at Emerald Downs, and it's 10 to 4 o'clock. And it really is designed as kind of a health and wellness fair event for caregivers. So there's 245,000 caregivers in Washington state alone, and a lot of them, it's a really isolating experience. So for them to be able to go and get resources and get ideas, meet other people, learn about how art and music can help, learn about what to do if your loved one is wandering, meet other caregivers that are in the midst of this. I talk to people about this all the time. This is a lonely and isolating path for caregivers. To know other caregivers and to have resources for one another is you've got to have that in the book. So it's going to be a wonderful event that really supports this kind of population.
Yeah. And you talked about this because it can be lonely and isolating, but there are resources and real ideas, and you mentioned art and music, so tell me more.
Yes, so there's going to be a bunch of different people talking about a bunch of different topics. I'm going to be talking about radical presence. There's going to be a sheriff there to talk about keeping people safe. There's going to be people doing art and music, and music has been one of the favorite resources for me. I have a bunch of different memories and a bunch of different interactions, but almost every time I would go and visit my mom, I would play the Beach Boys. It was like music from her youth, and it was just automatic. She just would light up, she'd want to get up, she'd want to dance around. So it's kind of a way of interacting with parts of the brain and parts of memory that don't have to do with remembering names or stories or different traditions in the family, where you can actually see somebody really come alive with different ways of interacting. So music has been saved a lot of interactions and made them really, really enjoyable and connective.
Yeah.
It's really hard to understand, how do I connect with my loved one if they don't remember my name or my age or where I went to school? But music art can really help us do that. So there's going to be people talking about that. Exactly.
Yeah. Exactly. And like you mentioned earlier, still have that feeling inside them that you can tell that they're having
that they're
fun.
Yes.
And
Exactly.
And not everyone watching might be able to attend the summit. So what do you recommend for them, for anyone that's watching?
I recommend, hands down, the Alzheimer's Association has a 24-hour hotline.
Wow.
It's licensed clinicians. It's 24 hours, 1-800-272-3900, and they're there to answer questions. So if you're stuck at home, if you can't leave your loved one, if you don't know what to do, if you're having a panic attack about something, call the hotline. They're there all the time. It's kind of an unbelievable resource when you think about all of the different offerings that the Alzheimer's Association has this. So that is hands down. I can't tell you how many times I've called it. Other people that I know, like it's a very helpful resource. So that would be hands down the way to go.
Wow. Thank you so much for being here, sharing your story about your journey with your mom and the summit. This is great.
Thank you for having me.
And again, the Alzheimer's Association Caregiver Summit is June 20th from 10 to 4 p.m., like we said, at Emerald Downs. And it's just $10 to register, and the information and community will be invaluable to those of you who are caregivers. Just register at the website that you see right there on your screen. And of course, we will have more information on our website.
This portion of New Day Northwest is sponsored by Alzheimer's Association.